3,000 years ago, the magicians of the brutal kingdom, Acheron, craved resurrection power. They won the battle when they found a mask which they used to ward off evil spirits, which gave them extraordinary powers. This mask was made from the king's skeletons, and the power was fueled by the pure blood of their daughter. With this power, Acheron became stronger and could destroy other kingdoms. There was only one tribe from the north, the barbarian tribe, who was able to conquer them and destroy the mask in pieces. The barbarians defeated Acheron, and the Darkness Kingdom was finally destroyed. The pieces of the mask were buried in different kingdoms to prevent someone from having such great power again. But prophecy said that someone would try to get the mask back and use its power. Years later in the Hyborian Age, a baby was born on a battlefield. He's the son of Fiala, a warrior's wife. In her last breath, Fiala called her son Conan. Fiala then entrusted Conan to her husband, Corin, the barbarian chieftain. Shortly, Conan was raised by a barbarian tribe in Cimmeria. He really wanted to fight, even though he was still a kid. Because of this, Conan trained harder than his friends and older people. One day, Corin sent his son and the other youths to the Winter Forest to join a competition, finding the next young Cimmerian warrior. During the challenge, the other youths fled when they saw unfriendly warriors from another clan. They wanted to attack Conan and his friends, but Conan wasn't afraid and kept going ahead. Conan was trapped, and the clan wanted to execute him for entering without permission. Conan fought and killed them all, returning home with their heads. He was determined to prove himself as a true warrior. After that, Corin took him to the workshop to make a sword together. Corin told Conan that he couldn't use the sword yet, but this sword would belong to him someday. Several days later, their village was attacked by naval soldiers. They were ordered by Kalar Zim, who intended to recreate Acheron's mask to resurrect his long-dead wife, Maliva. She was a powerful, evil witch killed by fire. The Cimmerian warriors fought back, gathering their weapons and mounted the horses towards the enemy. Within seconds, the village became a tense battlefield. The barbarians were not easily defeated. Meanwhile, the Cimmerians were finally defeated, and their leader was wounded and taken to Kalar Zim. Here, Kalar explained to Corin that he was building a kingdom with other chieftains, and he had to join them. Kalar asked that the Cimmerians be loyal to him, and also asked that the last part of the mask be handed over to him. Under great suffering, Corin remained stubborn. Meanwhile, Conan tried hard to save his father, even cut the chieftain's nose off. However, Conan started to get tired and became weaker. Kalar then asked his daughter, Marique, who had the superpower to find the last part of the mask. Unexpectedly, she succeeded in doing this, and she also seized the sword made by Conan and his father. Kalar Zim then burned the settlement and fled with his soldiers. Meanwhile, Corin sacrificed himself so that Conan could escape from there. After Cimmeria fell, Conan spent his next 20 years traveling around, killing and stealing people in search of the person who destroyed his tribe. Along the way, he met Artis, a Zamoran pirate, and they became good friends. They together rescued slaves while sailing. One night, Conan and Artis looked for slave masters and attacked them right on the riverbank, and Conan looked so bravely in killing them and freed the slaves. They transported the slaves to a nearby area by the sea called Messantia. They feasted and celebrated their victory in that place. At the feast, Conan recognized one of the tribal chiefs who had invaded his city. The person was Lucius, the man whose nose was cut off years ago. Lucius was chasing Elishan, a thief. Conan used this opportunity to cause problems with his men before finally surrendering and being kidnapped by them. A few days later, Conan attacked Lucius and defeated all the guards. Conan then questioned Lucius, torturing him. Lucius revealed where Kalar Zim was, and conveyed his desire to find the pureblood descendant of the sorcerers of Acheron to unleash the mask's power. Lucius explained that Marique could track down the female pureblood descendant, and the last descendant was currently in Shaper. They traveled across the valley, and Conan planned an ambush on the ravine, because Kalar Zim would take this route to reach his fortress. Conan immediately went to meet Kalar, but before that, he handed Lucius over to the people he enslaved, attacking and killing him. Elishan thanked Conan and offered to help him in the mission. Meanwhile, Calor and his daughter were on their way to Shaper Monastery, where a pure-blooded girl, Tamara, lives. They attacked Shaper, but a monk helped Tamara to escape because he already knew the prophecy. Calor asked the monk about Tamara's whereabouts, but he refused, so Calor finally killed him. Calor immediately sent Remo, his right-hand man, to look for Tamara. Remo chased Tamara and almost caught her, but Conan came to help Tamara. Conan kept chasing Remo, catapulted him, then took him as a captive. That night, Conan told Tamara his reasons for chasing Calor Zim, and he planned to lure his enemy, with Tamara as bait. Remo then woke up and explained why Calor Zim was interested in her. Remo offered Conan some gold, but Conan must hand Tamara over to Calor Zim. Conan agreed to let Remo deliver the message about Tamara's whereabouts, but he didn't tell about his murder plan. The next morning, Conan sent a message to Calor Zim using Remo's body, asking Calor to meet him alone to take Tamara, but it was actually a trap. When Calor Zim arrived, Conan and Tamara planned to ambush him. Conan refused the gold from Calor and attacked him instead. Conan fought hand-to-hand with Calor using a sword, while Marik summoned sand warriors, which made things difficult for Conan and Tamara. Marik attacked them with poison, which weakens Conan, so this allowed Calor to blow Conan. In the end, Conan and Tamara finally defeated the Sandmen and escaped to the bay, where Artis and the others were waiting for them. On the boat, Conan explained to Artis the reason Calor was targeting Tamara. Conan intended to chase Calor Zim again, but this time he would do that alone. Conan asked Artis to promise to protect Tamara and took her safely to the monks. That night, Calor's men tried to kidnap Tamara. Luckily, Artis knew this, then told the ship crew to kill Calor's men in this battle. Conan and Tamara then fought Calor's men, and Tamara did her job well. At dawn, Conan then said goodbye to his friends, but Artis let him go without a map of the coastline, and then sent Tamara to deliver it. He gave her until the next day to return to the ship. When Tamara met Conan, she gave him the map, and they spent the night together. Tamara then returned to Artis' ship the next morning. On her way home, she was ambushed by Calor Zim and his men. However, this time Conan wasn't there to save her. When Conan found out that Tamara had been kidnapped, he tried to track her down in Kor Kalba. Conan asked for help from Elashan, the best thief in Argilan. In Kalba, Tamara followed a ritual that will awaken the Acheron mask, giving Calor Zim the power to resurrect his wife. He aimed to use Tamara's body as a shell for his wife's spirit, in the hope that the secret she brought from the kingdom of the dead will make them unbeatable. Calor Zim dressed Tamara in the same dress that Maliva wore on their wedding day. Conan and Elashan slipped in through the tunnel. They passed a place full of water, and here Elashan was very handy in opening all the padlocks, letting them into the fortress. They swam to the top, but they were dragged down by the sea monster. Conan tried to finish off the monster quickly so they could come out of the water, but they were stunned by what they saw, a huge room with prisoners in cages. These people were used as food for the giant monster. Someone attacked Conan and Elashan and tried to take them back to the sea to be eaten by the monster. But Conan and Elashan managed to fight back, feed the enemy to the monster, tearing him to shreds. They finally escaped from that terrible room and went up to the fortress. They witnessed Calor and his legions bring Tamara into the Skull Cave, where the ritual will be carried out. Conan expressed his gratitude to Elashan and continued his journey to chase Calor. Then he entered the cave, disguising himself as one of the participants in the ritual. Tamara was tied to a big rock in the cave. Marik presented the Cimmerian sword she took from Conan's village to her father. Calor then began the ritual, slitting Tamara's chest with the sword. Calor put the mask behind Tamara's wound and let the blood drip onto it. The mask started to move as if it had come to life, and Calor put it on his face. Calor Zim felt the power flow through him and believed that he had finally gained the power of the mask, causing the earth to shake and the cave to collapse. The mask began to call out Maliva, while Conan approached Calor and attacked him. The cave begins to collapse due to the great energy released by the mask, and everyone flees, leaving Conan and his enemies. The chain that bound Tamara came loose, making her almost fall, but luckily she was able to survive. Conan and Calor dueled, slashed their swords. They were equally strong, showing their great prowess. Conan cut the chains that bound Tamara and freed her. Tamara ran away, while Conan continued to fight Calorzim. Elsewhere in the cave, Tamara tried to hide, but Marique chased her. Marique could track her down, making Tamara have no other choice but to face her. Tamara fought with all her might, but Marique was too strong. Tamara had been tied to the ground, and Marique was about to scratch her face, but Conan came to save her. Conan slashed Marique's hand, then Tamara kicked her into the cave ditch. Marique fell into the ditch, stabbed, and died. Not long after, Calorzim found his daughter's body, making him even more angry. He followed Conan and Tamara, and at the same time, Tamara fell from the old wooden bridge. The bridge couldn't hold on any longer, so Conan used all his strength to hold Tamara. His one hand was holding the chain to hold Tamara, while the other was holding onto the bridge. Calor approached Conan, then continued the ritual, summoning Maliva. Tamara began to be possessed, but she still had control over her body. She begged Conan to let her go so that Calor could be defeated, but Conan was determined to save Tamara, so when Calor approached him, Conan tore part of the bridge where Calor was standing, causing him to fall into the ditch and die. The ritual was unfinished because Calor was dead, so Tamara was safe. Conan used his remaining power to drag Tamara up the bridge and they ran away. Conan took Tamara back to her house and said goodbye. After many years, Conan returned to the ruins of his village to return the stolen sword. He remembered what his father promised, that the sword would be his one day when he was ready. With pride, Conan lifted the sword and finally proved that he deserved it.